Hi there, my name is Nichols and I'm an Alexander Technique teacher. Today I'm going to talk with you about how the Alexander Technique can bring about freer and easier movement and also release a kind of different relationship with the world that helps us to function day to day quite differently. So out of our unconscious patterns, out of the space of our habits and into a space more of being in relationship with the world. So one example of how this might apply to your day-to-day lives is if you think about your relationship with work when you're at a computer, for example, and you're hunched over. This is often a kind of common physical pattern, but it's also where you have tension in your neck and in your back. But this is also a mental pattern where you lose awareness of the space, and in that way the body recalibrates to sort of disappearing somehow into the screen. Today I'm going to look at how the Alexander Technique works with perceptual awareness to recalibrate kind of balance and introduce this freer and easier movement I mentioned at the beginning. To start with, I'd like to look at just remapping or mapping the body. So I'd like you to think about where you experience your head-neck joint to be. Where does your head meet your neck? And often when I ask people this, they'll point to somewhere around the middle of their neck actually, and quite low down and towards the back. Now if you place your fingers in the recesses behind your ears and just nod, the head is actually much more further forward and up than a lot of people presume. And so I just want to start by remapping this relationship and finding this freedom in the head-neck joint. And as you nod, this next time that you nod, I'd like you to see how far up your head will go and to notice the texture above on your ceiling, and then notice all of the textures as you bring your head all the way down. Notice all of the objects in your line of vision that you maybe haven't sort of seen for a while. So notice everything from the floor directly ahead of you all the way up to the ceiling. So notice the colors, the objects, the textures. And just do that quite slowly for a few more seconds. Just really notice what is in your room in front of you. And as you bring your head back to a more neutral position, I'd like you to pick a point directly ahead of you. So for me, this is looking towards the phone that is recording this video, but then I'm going to go beyond that to pick a point in the wall behind the phone. And I'd like to invite you to take that point and turn it into a ladybird. And this is going to be a ladybird that's going to make a journey that we're going to track with our vision all the way from this point right ahead of us to the wall or the window on the right hand side. And I'd like us to do this very slowly, because often when we're in a sort of fight or flight mode of really needing to feeling like we're in an emergency situation or needing to deal with something, our eyes can dart around. And what we're doing here is just bringing in the parasympathetic nervous system to meet the nervous system and to calm it. And our vision can really help us to do this. So I'd like you to imagine this ladybird, project it onto the wall ahead of you, and very slowly just allow that ladybird to make a journey And you're going to track that ladybird with your eyes across every surface. So across the window, across the glass of the window, noticing the texture of the window as it passes, across the wall. And I'd like you to see how far your vision can lead you without the rest of your body getting involved. And when you reach the maximum point, notice how much of the space behind you can see at this point. And then allow the ladybird, if it helps, point to it as well, to track all the way around again to the middle, right in front of you, and then all the way to the left. So, and if you notice your eyes wanting to jump around or even retract and somehow dissociate, see if you can just really lightly invite your awareness back to the ladybird on the wall, and then continue. So this really slow tracking across every surface, every object, and if it helps, even say out loud the objects that you're seeing. So once I get to the left here, when I make my way back, I can see a lampshade going all the way across, a vase, a mirror, and a cupboard, and the wall. And from this point now, when you've returned to center, just see what you can see in your peripheral vision without needing to try. So we've taken our vision all the way to the right and all the way to the left. And now hopefully this space will just naturally flood in to our vision even more easily. So see if you can really take in this visual space. And I'd like you to click behind you to also acknowledge the space behind us too. And then place your hand on the crown of your head, and then I'd like you to just notice the space from crown of your head to the ceiling. So it's not something we need to check is there, it's just simply acknowledging that there is that space. And there's that space that we can kind of grow up into, if you like. So we have the support of the floor beneath us. I'd like to invite you to notice the texture of the floor beneath your feet. So whether that's the carpet or wood or whatever the material that the floor is made of, experience that texture. And see if you can experience that texture and include this visual space at the same time. And from the floor, we have a form of anti-gravity support all the way through us. So it's going through our feet, this line of anti-gravity support all the way through our feet, our legs, our sacrum, our spine, all the way up to the crown of your head and beyond, towards the ceiling, towards the sky. See if you can experience that support going all the way through you. Now this is also moving through the head-neck joint that we talked about earlier. And when we're including our peripheral vision, we're also expanding our awareness in this plane. So we have a sense of an up-down line and a side-to-side line, and also through noticing the space directly ahead of us and including the space behind us. If we can maintain those orientations, those directions in space, really opening up our awareness, our auditory awareness and our visual awareness in those spaces, you might notice that the body starts to rebalance slightly. You might notice some very subtle movements. And we're freeing up the head-neck joint here. Our perception is opening up the possibility that this head-neck joint can move, because behind the head-neck joint we have semicircular canals, and they operate a bit like three-way spirit levels. So to bring in this sense of directions in this plane, in this plane, and in this plane, we're actually reintroducing balance through this head-neck joint. And if you imagine a spirit level, almost the bubble comes to the middle, and we're balancing the head-neck joint that has a ripple effect across the whole of the body. So it helps to rebalance and recalibrate the whole of us. And I'd like you to experience what it might be now to take this sense of renewing your awareness, your expanded awareness of the world, into an activity. So perhaps pick up your phone and see if you can do that whilst maintaining your awareness. And if you notice that your awareness wants to narrow to a task, that's the perfect opportunity to send this invitation to include your peripheral vision and include the space behind you, to be aware and be with the world as you're conducting your activity. And you might notice really sort of subtle changes in how you relate to the world. And often, with the phone example, if I was to pick up my phone in this with more expanded perceptual awareness, I might be freer to notice much more of the texture of the object as I pick up the phone. I might also notice that it might allow my body to coordinate to scoop the phone, possibly, instead of grab the phone. So often when we're in a narrowed space of awareness, we will sort of, in a sense, exert dominance over what we are, what we're dealing with. So it's, I need to pick up the phone. But if you're in relationship with the world, as you pick up your phone, the phone in a sense also has less power over you, and you don't need to deal so much or do so much. You can be with the world as you do what you need to do. So hopefully this will be an interesting thing to sort of experiment with day to day. Be really interested to hear your feedback, and please do apply it to other videos in the Project Move series. Let me know how you get on in doing that too.